Hey, this is Attila, and you're listening to Movie Prosecutionists. Let's go! Okay, yeah. Hello everybody. Today I'm gonna talk about a movie, a quite recent movie, a movie called Dump Money. So, quite interesting title. And when I heard like Paul Dano is gonna be part of this movie, I was like, yeah, man, this one I gonna watch. So, Paul Dano, I don't know if there's a picture in your head automatically when you hear this name, but Paul Dano did some really impressive movies. He did Prisoners. He was in There Will Be Blood. He played the antagonist in the Batman, like the recent movie with Robert Pattinson from 2022. And obviously, he did Ruby Sparks. And Ruby Sparks, everybody who listened to the second episode will know this is like a movie I really, really adore. And I think it's incredible and you have to watch it. But let's go back to Dump Money. So, what is dump money, like in general? Like, is this just like a term or is there something behind it? That was the first question I had and I was hearing from this title, and actually there is a big story behind it. We gonna go in deep, not very deep, but deep into stock market and the ideas around it and who's playing there, which kind of institution, which kind of individuals are playing at the stock market, and how they made a kind of David against Goliath story into this. So, to be fair and to start at the beginning, dump money is like the money spent by retail investors on the stock market. So, retail investors are basically individuals who don't have a lot of money, who are buying directly via various platforms directly on the stock market. So, for example, me as an individual, don't have a lot of money. I download an app and I'm buying shares of Apple on this app. I would be considered a retail investor. And if I speculate and try to make more money out of what I have right now, and I'm not holding long-term big index shares like Apple, I would be considered as someone who is using dump money because I'm a retail investor and I don't have enough money to spend so that this would actually be like a seriously intelligent idea to do that. So dump money is money from the little guy on the stock market. And exactly that is kind of the story here. Like, Paul Dano plays Roaring Kitty. And who never heard of Roaring Kitty may have heard of GameStop. GameStop is a retail shop where you can buy like games, obviously, computer games. I don't know, keyboards and various computers in general, you can buy there as well. But here we follow Paul Dano and a few, let's say, side characters which play a rather like insignificant role, who are more like to kind of make the followers of him visible. So he has followers, yeah. Paul Dano plays like an influencer, but not any influencer. In this movie, Paul Dano plays an influencer who is doing investment advices. So he is like someone who has YouTube, who has Twitch and stuff like that, and is doing a lot of like live videos where he's explaining why this is such a good idea to invest in there and in there and in there. And in the movie, he has a lot of money issues. He like he's not poor, but he's not rich. And so far so good. He's investing a lot of money in GameStop. And why he's doing that is never really explained in the movie. But basically he says it's an undervalued stock. We have to go deeper into that as well, I think. So stock is basically a share which is a part of a company. I'm pretty sure everybody is knowing that. But undervalued basically means that the stock price, like the price, the whole price of the company on the stock market is less than the growth potential and performance that the company has. So then it's undervalued. And obviously, if a company is undervalued, it will overperform, and then people will buy the stock because they think, okay, it's a very good company, and so on and so on. Or what also could happen is that the money, that the stock is losing more and more value. The company cannot invest anymore because they can't sell share to gain new money. So they go bankruptcy because they cannot evolve anymore, and so on and so on. It depends a little bit on which kind of company you are and how dependent you are on the stock price. But in general, you can also just exist for another, 50 years. But in general, it's good if your shares are highly noted, if you have like an expensive share, or let's say a share who is exactly how much you are worth. So Paul Dano in this movie says the share is undervalued, and then he tries to make the share like bigger, and explaining to his followers that this is like a really good idea to invest in them. And what happens in the movie, and actually what happened in real life as well, big hedge fund managers saw that. Hedge funds are like actively managed funds, which are like, you can imagine like a big pile of money from a lot of rich people who are managed by one or a few individuals who actively do decisions based on, it's not only intuition, but there's a lot of intuition in there. So there, the hedge fund managers think, okay, this is easy money. They don't know how the market works, and we are gonna short this. We do a short position, a big short position on GameStop. What is a short position? Next explanation. Woo! Okay, like a short position is when I borrow from you one of your shares, like one of the parts of the company, and then I sell it, but I have to buy it back in like a month and then give it back to you. Okay, imagine I borrow the share from you, I sell it for like 10 euros, and then I have to buy it back in 1 month, and it's only 7 euros, and then I give it back to you. What I'm betting here is I bet on that the price is falling. And this is basically what shorting is. And yeah, this is legal. You can bet on a share losing value. And this is actually quite a common thing to do. So what the hedge fund managers did was like, okay, hey, this is an opportunity. These little people think this is undervalued, but it's not. I know it because I know the market. So the big hedge fund managers are shorting. And what will happen if you short a lot, then the company's value is falling again. Because the expectations of people are that this stock will lose value. And now what happens here is where the David against Goliath game starts. What starts? The retail investors stick together, say they will hold their shares, and they even will buy more shares for higher prices so that the price is going up. Okay, I explained what happens if the price is going down if I do a short position. Now imagine the price is going up. I borrow from you the share, I sell the share for 10 euros, and then I have to buy it back, but now the price is higher, so I will lose money. So what the retail investors were thinking, or especially what the Roaring Kitty were thinking, okay, we will make the big hedge fund managers pay. What they need for that are more people willing to invest more money into GameStop and make the price go higher. And they actually did that. So also in real life, what happened is that the price of GameStop exploded. And now imagine how much money you can lose there. Basically, if this happens, you can lose endless amount of money. Like I sold, in my example, for 10 euros the share. If the share is now going up 4 times in value, so it's like 40 euros, I have to buy it back and I will lose 30 euros. Like I will lose a lot of money, 4 times the value I was, or 3 times? Well, I'm like confused right now, but I will lose a lot of money. And the same thing happens to the hedge fund managers, but they were not borrowing one, but hundreds of thousands of shares. And if this happens, when the short positions are like a really bad investment for someone, you call this a short squeeze. Because you're like squeeze the people who are shorting. And this is exactly what happens. The short squeeze happens and big hedge fund billionaires are losing money. And this is kind of the cool part of the movie, and you're really enjoying this and you're like, yeah man, they destroy them, let's go against the rich. And this is like interesting, and it's always like you're rooting for the underdog and so on and so on. I have a lot of problems with the movie. Like, I really wanted to talk about this because I think it's really cool that they did a movie about the stock market where they actually explain some of the ideas the stock market like can portray and some of the ways how the stock market is working. But there is obviously a lot of weird stuff around it. They try to make a really emotional story. They talk about Roaring Kitty, about his emotional life, about his relationship with his wife, with his brother, with like his parents. And there's not really like you don't really can relate to the way they're thinking. And you also have always a feeling like there's more behind this, especially if you see like the YouTube videos of the real Roaring Kitty. These videos are not like little videos where I say, oh, I believe in the stock and I believe in all of this and I'm so emotional. These videos are very like factual. He's talking about performances in the past. He's talking about the business model. He's talking about, okay, 25% of this and there and stuff like that. And in the movie, there's like, it's maybe like 2% of the monologues that he's doing in his like Twitch live streams and so on, which are actually about facts. The rest is about, oh, I really believe in this and we have to aim high and we have to go there. And don't get me wrong, part of this is exactly that. And they wanted to portray also this kind of movement because in reality, it was not only GameStop where they squeezed the short positions of big fund managers. There are also other companies where they did that because they were like seeing themselves as like Robin Hoods of the world, where they like take from the rich and give to the poor. And reality is often a little bit complicated, more complicated than what you can see in the movie, especially if you think about who really profited from this. You have to imagine 3/3, like 75% of like the whole shares that GameStop has were held by 9 investors. and most of them more on the bigger institutional direction. One of the investors, one of the rich investors, invested 75 million for his shares and actually gained out of it 1.3 billion. And if you are able to invest 75 million dollars, you're not like a little retail investor. But there's something really cool and very interesting happened because of the story. Nowadays, the big funds have a lot less short positions. People are fearing these kind of wars against short positions, where little retail investors go against betting for failure of companies. They fight against people who bet on this failure, and I think this is kind of cool. Okay, yeah. I mean, at the end, this movie is portraying more emotions than he's actually portraying the story, and there's so much what I would love to see more, far more analysis of the market, far more, okay, this is the sell side, this is the buy side, these are the information, okay, their investment, investment banking, their corporate banks, and you could have explained a lot more and what retail investors actually position, their actual position in all this is. I would have loved to have I don't know, a little bit more explanation in this movie. But for an introduction in certain concepts of the stock market, it's kind of beautiful and it's kind of a cool story. And I wanted to share this because first, I love Paul Dano and I really, really enjoyed watching this and learning. And actually, I read so much, and I watched the videos of Roaring Kitty, the actual person, the actual influencer, and it was really fascinating. And I wanted to kind of share and say you should watch it as well, and you should say to me okay, what is interesting about this? What do you think about the stock market, and so on and so on, and this is why I did this podcast episode. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode and you stay tuned for next time, next Monday. So see you then. Bye.